The e-commerce toolkit follows a very predictable order flow for the customer. They can browse all products, or they can browse by category. And if we browse by category, you can see here that we have backpacks, we have hats, and we have t-shirts. And you can search, and then you'll be able to type keywords, and it will find products that match those keywords. If we go back to see all, then you can see we get all of our items, and the user can keep scrolling. And if you have more than 10, it'll generate another gallery with the next set of data in your Google Sheet. If you want to add an item that doesn't have any variance, so there's no required selections such as size or color from the user, like this vintage canvas backpack, then just clicking add to cart will ask the user how many they want. We just want one, and the item will be added to the cart. And at this point, we have a cart total of $75, and we can keep shopping, we can check out, or if we add a bunch of items and want to start over, we could just empty the whole cart. But let's keep shopping. And what we're going to do is we're going to add an item to the cart that has variance. So a t-shirt is a great example of that. When you buy a t-shirt, you'll want to pick your size, and often variance might include color. So you'll want to pick the color that you want of the t-shirt, and then based on those selections, you'll get a price, and the price might be different depending on what you select. So let's take a look at that. We're going to add this t-shirt, and the first thing it says is that selections are required. Here we got to pick something first. We got to pick size, and we can see there's a cost, and you can see here that the cost is different. And if I pick this size, the price on the button at the bottom, that price dynamically updates. So you can see if I change the selection, the price will adjust. And then if I keep scrolling down, I can pick a color. So maybe I want that in red. And then we just add to cart. And you'll see here that then we get asked how many we want. And we'll take 2 of those. And then the bot will say that it's adding 2 of the shirt. And you can see here that now we have a backpack. And we only wanted 1 of those. And we wanted 2 t-shirts, and they were $18 each, and so that gives us a total of $36. And you can also see here that there is the options that we picked. So you can see the size, men's 2XL, and red. That was the color. Now let's look at the checkout flow. The first thing we want to know is where are we shipping, because if the country is not a country that we ship to, then there's no point in taking the user further along in that process. You could ask this question right up front, where are you based, where are you located, and if the user is not in a supported country, then you could say, sorry, we don't support your country. But I like to put it at this step. That way we can capture some intelligence about the customer and what it is that they want. And if there's enough people that want something, and they're in a country that we don't support, then maybe we add support for that country, or at least we have the intelligence to say, oh, we need to manufacture or buy more of that product because that's a product that people like. So I put it at this step here, and here we can take advantage of the web view again, and you can see here that these are countries that we ship to, and these countries have costs for shipping, and these costs are different. So if I'm in Canada, let's scroll up here. That's my cost is $10. But if the customer is in South Africa, we're going to charge $25 for shipping. And if they're in another country that's not listed here, then it would say 0, and they might pick that, and then you can use that value, other country, to then tell the user, well, sorry, we don't ship to your country. So how you set this up is really up to you. It could be, you ship to your country, whatever your region is, and then you have international as an option. So you may only have 2 options. and you may only have a couple of different rates. You may have a variable rate, but these are just predefined shipping rates for pretty much any order, unless I guess that it's a large order, then you might have a different shipping cost. But let's pick this, and we're going to ship this to South Africa. Now we want to know the delivery address, and I can just put this in here, 555 Main Street. And, you would put other details associated with the address. And now we have a confirmation. So this is the delivery address, and that is the destination country. And we want the user to confirm that. And if they click no, then they can, it'll clear that, and they can provide a new country, a new address, and we can continue. So let's just review. This is what we're getting. You can see here that in the order summary, we see what the user wanted, the quantity, and in the case of the t-shirt, we have what they selected in that web view. So they wanted a men's 2XL and red, and then we have an order total, and then we have shipping, and then we have taxes, and then we have a total cost. At this point, you'll want to ask the user if they have any promotional codes, and if they do, then you can capture that if they and we can adjust the price. So let's do that. And so I'm just going to show you that this is an example. Save 123 will work. And then let's see what happens here. The code gets entered. We verify that the code works because the code would exist in the Google Sheet. And if it does, then we capture a value and we update our calculation. So the cost is now 10% less on the order total, 10% on the shipping, and then we calculate the taxes again based on those updated values, and the customer saves some money. And then at that point, we can check out. And you can check out by launching the native Stripe or PayPal payment mechanism right in your bot and capture that payment. That way you can trigger a web view and load another payment system if you want to capture the customer's payment and then process the orders. So that is the order flow. Now let's take a look and see how it was built. You have a category, and in this case we had t-shirts, hats, and backpacks, and then we have the name of the product, and we have a base price of the product. So $15 would be a base price, but if we have different variants or different sizes change the price, then the base price would change. Are there options? Well, in the case of these t-shirts, there are options, and those are the only variants that we have. The backpacks don't have options. And then we can describe it, and that's a description that would appear in the gallery of items in the subtitle. We can add keywords, because if users search for an item, they can enter keywords, and a gallery will be dynamically generated as search results. And then there's a photo of the item, which is in the gallery. And then, is it available now? And if it is, then we would set that to true. Or we might queue up a whole bunch of items. We might sell out of a particular item, in which case we would just set it to false, and the bot wouldn't access the product from the sheet. In terms of our categories, we can jump over here, and we have t-shirts, hats, and backpacks. And then in terms of our variants, we have options. So this is our option category. And we can see here it says web view configuration. So if the web view configuration is the t-shirt options, then this is what would appear. So you can see all of our different sizes and how the price would change depending on the size. And here we have all the different colors that that our t-shirts are available in, or any product that would meet this criteria and fall into the t-shirt options category. And you can just keep building on this as well and create different categories and different selection lists within categories, and then assign those to products here. You just pick from there as you add a new category. Okay, so we have our options. Now we can look at shipping, and you can see here that I simply have a web view configuration called shipping countries. However you want to configure this is up to you. This was just my configuration. Maybe I have different methods of shipping. Maybe I have express shipping United States, and then I have standard shipping United States, and maybe that has a different price. Maybe I don't have any countries at all. I just have standard or express. So it's really up to you how you define it, but this is what I've come up with for my shipping configuration. And then finally, we have promo codes, and you can see here that we have different codes, and as this was the one that I entered, save123, and if the user enters a code and it's not found in this list, then it'll say, sorry, that code's invalid, or it expired, and give them the option to try again, or proceed without entering a code. So this one I entered and it worked, and this was the offer. So we can present that offer to the customer, and then we can also grab this value, which is 10% off here. And it's represented this way because it just makes it really easy to use when you have to recalculate everything. So that's pretty much it. All of the data that the user will input, and this is the name, and we can see we didn't make any selections for the backpack. We just picked a quantity. That's why we have quantity 1 here. And so there was no selection, so that's why that's blank. But for the t-shirt, we had a quantity of 2, and we did have selections. And so that is in the cart. And then we have here the price. And again, the price of the backpack was $75. But the base price of the t-shirt was $15. It wasn't until I picked the 2XL size that the price changed to $18. So the price will be saved here based on what I selected, and then we have the quantity, and then we have a total. So price times quantity gives us a total. You might have different add-ons too, and you could put prices on those too. So maybe there's you upsell different things. A batching hoodie or a sweatshirt. And if they add that, it might have an add-on price, and so that factored into the cost as well. This add-on price, and so you'd have a base price for the item, the add-on price, and then a quantity, and then a total. And the title is what will appear in the gallery card title, and then in the subtitle, this has nothing. So it would be blank, but this had our selections, so the user can see what they selected. And then we have the image, and then we have some commands when the user adds to cart where it's going to go. So it's going to go to a specific step called remove from cart, and then capture some logic, including what they picked. And so that's how it works. There's shop logic, which is basically has some additional information, and really you don't want to touch this. That's why all these cells are grayed out. They're not meant to be edited because they grab data from some of these other sheets, mostly what is in the shop manager here. So all of that, you have a shop, and then you have the shop logic sheet, and that really just sends all of the data back into Messenger when the user makes some requests, like adding an item to a cart. What happens there? And so there's some commands that we can send back from the Google Sheet to Messenger and update the customer experience. And then the category logic, again, is also something that you wouldn't need to touch, but that's why these cells are grayed out. And if you wanted to add any of the buttons, because a gallery card has up to 3 buttons, you can see here that this is button 1. So it was a click to view. Those were categories. But you can add other options as well. So you can add multiple buttons. Maybe I want to send the user to a URL if they click a button, a specific flow, a particular step in a flow, and that would be by the name of the step. And then maybe it's to call a phone number, or maybe it's an address and we want to trigger Google Maps. And so you can add up to 3 buttons, and you can trigger different actions when users click those buttons. So you can see here, button action, add tag, remove tag. You can set a field or you can unset a field. So all of these basically give your bot commands directly from the Google Sheet. So that is and you can see here as you pick, the action, the cell will turn red, and that's a call to action for you to actually input a name. So, if I set a field value, both of these turn red, which means you need to input some data. User field name, you would put that in here, and what is the value that you want to get saved to that user field. And okay, so that's how these gallery sheets work. Finally, there's an example here. If you're an Amazon seller, or you're selling product outside of the bot. In other words, you could use the bot to have users browse product and search for product, see pictures of product, and really ask questions about product because they're in Messenger. But when it comes to the point of sale, if you don't want them to transact through Messenger, but you want to send them to a destination, at that point you can target a specific page. So you can see here that the user would click a button that might say shop now. It targets a URL, and then you can just send them to whatever URL. In this case, it's just Amazon.com, but you would have a specific product page where the user might complete their purchase. And if you wanted to create any more galleries, you can do that through a blank gallery sheet. And if you needed more, you can always just duplicate the sheet. So that is the eCommerce Toolkit, and it provides a number of useful features to drive discovery of product and drive transactions through Messenger.